Jennifer, a young novelist, gets herself a cabin in the woods for some peace of mind. She's trying to write her next book there. She takes the keys and directions from Earl and heads there. She enters a gas station. A few men who work there approach her. One of them, Johnny, asks her where she's heading and she tells him she's lost. Jennifer's looking for the Mockingbird Trail and Johnny tells her how she can get there. He asks her if she's staying in the cabin and tries to make a move when he finds out she is. She makes fun of the pickup line, which pisses him off. They both reach for her car keys and she accidentally hits the panic button and he stumbles on a bucket of water. His friends make fun of him, leaving him enraged. Jennifer enters the cabin. She starts writing right away. The next day, as she's sunbathing outside, she hears random noises which she dismisses. She hears door thuds later on from the storage room, but doesn't find anything there either. Returning to her seat, she spills her drink over her thighs. She undresses and washes the clothes in the kitchen. Unbeknownst to her, she's being recorded from outside. The next day, Jennifer goes out for a run in the woods. She finds an abandoned house with a few handyman tools but doesn't stay long. Her faucet at home malfunctions, and her toilet doesn't flush either, so she calls for help. They send her an awkward boy named Matthew. Matthew is startled when she thanks him with a kiss. He hurriedly leaves before she even gets to pay him. The scene changes to Johnny and his friends chilling. They talk about Matthew's adventure with the new city girl, mentioning that she gave him a kiss. One of them, Stanley, shows the others the video he took of Jennifer through the window. Johnny is irritated by Matthew's confidence that she likes him. The friends dare each other to win her over. They mock Johnny's messy interaction with her, but he claims that he could get her if he wanted to. Inside her cabin, Jennifer writes her book but gets bored at some point. She lights up a joint and takes a nap before the sound of wood creaking wakes her up. She takes a look outside but goes back in when she sees nothing. A sound makes her drop her glass. She sees a dead bird on her front door. She then sees the storage's door open and locks it. Upon her return, she sees a picture of Johnny, Andy, and Stanley on her laptop. The guys then enter the room, cornering her. She tells them she's called the cops, but they don't believe her because Matthew already told them she dropped her phone in the toilet earlier that day. They call him in and ask why she didn't pay him for his service, although he ran out himself. She tries offering them her money, but they're more interested in why she's out there all alone. She tells them it's because she's a writer and that her boyfriend is coming soon. They don't believe this lie either. Johnny invites her to have a drink with them. They take it personally when she refuses to. They mockingly read lines from her book that are about her dead father and even throw lit matches on her. They demand that she start drinking. She takes a sip and starts apologizing to Johnny for embarrassing him the other day. He tells her to show him her teeth instead, threatening her with a baseball bat. He then takes out a gun, forcing it into her mouth. Andy proceeds to do the same thing with a liquor bottle. The friends propose an idea to let the shaking, nervous Matthew have the girl, but Jennifer manages to attack them and run into the woods before she bumps into a sheriff. She tells him the assault she went through and even IDs Johnny for him. The armed sheriff accompanies her back to the cabin. He takes a look around the house, making sure the men have gone. Sheriff Storch questions her about the drinks and the marijuana, which she denies owning. The lipstick on them gives it away and he requests backup. Jennifer is angry, screaming that she's the victim. Sheriff Storch says she's making serious accusations about boys he's known since they were kids, and she hasn't been altogether truthful. He tells her to step up to the wall and ends up grabbing her aggressively himself. Suddenly, Johnny and the others enter the cabin. The sheriff starts messing with Jennifer and gets a slap. He hits her back hard and Johnny holds her up, asking the anxious Matthew to take his clothes off. He refuses, so Johnny tells him he'll slice Jennifer up with the knife in his hands if he doesn't do what he's told. He cuts off her pants, which gets Matthew to take his off. He isn't aroused yet though, which makes them force Jennifer into dancing. She moves around crying as they hit and shove her. Matthew hesitantly tells them he'll do it, which makes them start violently pinning her down to the ground. They encourage Matthew to have his way with her. He eventually starts choking her to stop her from struggling and jumps to the corner to throw up. The sheriff approaches Jennifer, telling her she'll thank him for it. After they walk out, she leaves through the back door into the woods. She runs into the same men though. They start suffocating her in the lake for some fun before the sheriff takes advantage of her. She tries reaching out for his gun, but Johnny kicks it away. After they all take advantage, she still gets herself up from the ground and walks away towards the bridge. They let her get to a distance, admiring her strength. Before the sheriff shoots her, she jumps into the lake. The men wait for her body to emerge but can't find anything. The sheriff orders them to look for her and kill her when they find her. He assigns them to clean the cabin and get rid of her car. He snaps at Stanley, who was recording the whole interaction with Jennifer, clueless that it can be used as evidence. As they burn the tape, Johnny tells his friends to keep an eye on Matthew until this thing's over. Sheriff Storch arrives at home. His pregnant wife welcomes him, and his daughter shows him that she's been accepted to the honors program. He tells his daughter he's proud of her and goes back to Earl to give him the key back. Matthew is traumatized by what he and his friends did. Visual hallucinations of Jennifer haunt him. The sheriff's interrupted from watching TV with his wife when Earl calls him to tell him a woman named Barbara is looking for Jennifer, who's been gone for a month. Sheriff takes the number. The next day, Stanley runs up to Andy and Johnny in fear. His camera's been stolen, which is serious because it had the tape they thought Storch smashed. Stanley admits that Storch smashed a new tape that was replaced beforehand. Johnny attacks Stanley for keeping the tape. At home, Johnny hears a sound and goes outside to see a dead bird on his front door. When he walks back inside, the noise is repeated and another dead bird is at his door. This makes him think his friends are fooling with him. Third time he hears a noise from the inside, he takes his gun with him and sees that it's a slipper similar to Matthew's. He sees something moving in the bushes and starts shooting but doesn't find anything. He finds shoelaces on the ground though. Meanwhile, the sheriff's wife tells her husband that there is a tape that came in the mail today that is probably for their daughter. He leaves with it to Johnny's house to take out his rage on them. They blame it all on Matthew, assuming that he's behind the whole thing. He then throws the tape on fire. Sheriff Storch goes out hunting with Earl, but kills him with his shotgun right away, claiming that it's because of loose ends. Matthew keeps hearing Jennifer calling out for him from inside her cabin. Her voice leads him to fall from the stairs. He sees Jennifer on the couch, who doesn't confirm or deny if she's alive. Matthew starts apologizing, and she seems understanding at first, even offering him to lay his head on her lap as he tells her he's very sorry. She comforts him at first, but little does he know, she's hiding a rope. She strangles him to death as she demands for an apology, but it can't be enough just yet. Andy and Stanley look for Matthew in the woods. They hear Andy's harmonica playing and start following that voice. They approach the abandoned house Jennifer came across earlier. Stanley looks for Matthew outside as Andy's inside to check what's safe. He sees Jennifer standing but steps on a bear trap when he attempts to get near her. He screams out for his friend Andy, but she kicks them both down with a baseball bat. Jennifer starts recording a tied-up Stanley before feeding him a dead rat and using a fish's hook to keep his eyes open, a mockery to how he likes to watch. Back inside, Andy is tied over a bathtub. Jennifer starts hitting the tub aggressively as Andy apologizes. She suffocates him with the water in the tub, reminding him of his own mercilessness. She doesn't kill him though, and instead goes back to Stanley, who begs her to free his eyes from their uncomfortable position. Instead of helping, Jennifer opens up a fish's guts and paints his face with it. Crows appear later on and start feasting on his eyes. Returning to Andy, she takes some lye she found around and pours it into the bathtub. Andy's submerged in the contaminated water. His face melts and he dies shortly. Johnny hears the service bell ring and walks outside the gas station to see a pretty woman standing. It's revealed that it's Jennifer. She hits him hard and he wakes up tied up. She tells him it's date night and proceeds to pull his teeth out until he pisses himself. Even as this happens, he threatens Jennifer and tells her he'll kill her. Afterwards, she takes out a gun and makes him gag on it. He tells her he won't lose to a woman and even laughs at her. That's when she takes out a big scissor, cutting his genitals and shoving them into his mouth. She walks away as he bleeds to death. Sheriff Storch is driving while talking to his family on the phone. His daughter introduces him to her teacher, and he's shocked to learn her name. She calmly lets him know that she's with his family, which sends him off into panic mode. He drives to his house and asks his wife where she is. She tells him she went to the park with his daughter. Sheriff screams for his daughter but can't find her. Back in his car, he's hit on the head and wakes up in the abandoned house. There's a shotgun that's wired to his back door, and Jennifer starts asking him what he'd feel if any of the things he and the others did to her happened to his daughter. He speaks to her just as poorly as before, which leaves her no choice but to thrust the gun deeper into his rectum. She takes off the clothes on the person across from the sheriff, revealing that it's Matthew. She ties the wire from the shotgun to Matthew's wrist. The sheriff begs her as she walks away, but then starts screaming inappropriate things, which eventually wakes Matthew up. Matthew moves his hands and the gun is shot. The bullet goes through the sheriff into Matthew's chest, killing them both at once. The movie ends as Jennifer smiles. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next one. Fear awaits you.